Namaste, Jai Bharat. Let's try to understand the distinctions between what is knowledge and what is information. I would like to say that there is a difference between mere information and knowledge, and this, of course, uh, is not originally my thought. I'll tell you from where this thing comes. We do come across quite a few people who are well educated, well qualified, but then they don't exhibit or possess an expected kind of qualities which such an educated person is expected to possess. Now, this is a disappointing situation. Common people who are not that widely, greatly educated do carry some kind of expectations from someone who is well educated. But then there are situations, there are cases when people don't exhibit such kind of qualities. Now, how does this happen is the question. I told you right in the beginning itself, there's a difference between information and knowledge. See, normally what happens is you undergo a long process of education. Education is a real long process. Those who go for very higher educations, they do spend actually more than half of our life in gathering qualifications. Let me say it as qualifications. You can't say gathering knowledge, but gathering a lot of qualifications, certificates, and records and proofs of the kind of abilities which they are supposed to possess. People spend more than half. See, if you look at a normal curriculum, 10 years you spend in schools, and then if you go for something like higher secondary, another 2 years, then 3 years for graduation including honors, or sometimes honors will take you another year, and then post graduation, and you do not know how much time you really go for how much time you really have to spend for a PhD. And in my cases, when we were students, we could not go for PhD directly. We had to go through an MPhil degree and then to PhD. But these days it is done away with. Anyway, MPhil is expected to be 1 year, but it never gets completed in 1 year. It goes sometimes near more than 1 year, or sometimes near 2 years, and even at times more than that. So, if you come to see, you spent more than half of your life in gathering education in arts stream. Now look at a medical doctor who studies. 4.5 years is his course, MBBS. Then 1 year of internship. Then he goes for a specialization, which is supposed to be 3 years. Then he goes for a super specialization, another 3 years. Now, it's not always the case that one studies continuously for so many years. There will be a lot of gaps in between. In many cases, those who are in government seat, after your graduation in medicine, MBBS, you have this 1 year of house agency or internship. Then you may have to execute a bond, depending upon which state you are studying from and which kind of course you have taken. If you are studying with the government fund, then you may have to go for a bond, and that takes minimum 1 year, sometimes even more. Then go for this specialization, which is 3 years, and there is a lot of time delay between getting admission, actually starting the course, and then if there is a bond, again going for bond, then again writing the entrance examination. See, after MBBS, you go for a specialization for which you write an entrance test. Then after super specialization, if you have bond, you do that, and then you write a test, go for a super specialization. Then afterwards, they again go for a fellowship. What time a person completes his education at this case? So, more than half, much more than half. In case of medical people, it is much more than half of their life. By the time he comes out, after having acquired whatever he wanted to study, he'll be near 40. And after 40, then your vitality, your enthusiasm, and the prime time of youth is gone. So one spends a lot of time in gathering informations. But then these informations, they have to become knowledge. These two are two different things. You go to our villages in Bharat, we have a lot of people sitting there, elderly people who are not formally educated, but then we are, when we talk to them, when we interact with them, we feel that these people are something. We call such people who may be not educated as wise people. You call them as wise people. You see such people in our villages. They may not even know how to read and write, but they have this wisdom. And I can only say one thing about this wisdom, that is a gift from nature. We can say gift from God, but then God is a reductionistic concept, because in Bharatiya dharmas, we don't, though we call God Ishwar, etc., but that's a reductionistic concept, because we talk about something much wider than a limited concept of God. We talk about the Paramatma, or the ultimate reality, and it is that same ultimate reality that we see in every deities. Anyway, that's not the point. We're talking about information education. We have wise people who maybe not very educated, and in spite of all your PhDs and higher qualifications, when you happen to talk to one or two or some of such people maybe in a very remote village of our nation, you will be amazed to look at their vision and insight, and we call it as, in one word, as wisdom. So wisdom has really nothing much serious to do with information you collect, you gather. Now I'm coming to the point that there's a conceptual distinction between your information and knowledge. And here, let me talk about an ancient rishi of Bharat. He is supposed to have lived in 3rd century BC or even more, and he is supposed to be from our today's state of Bihar. This is my impression. I am not very sure. We don't know our ancestors are from which particular point in Bharat, because this amazing nation of Bharat had demonstrated its enviable ability of producing great minds from every nook and corner of this nation. And our people shift. They don't stay put at one place. They go from here and there. Kashyapa Desha, Kashmir, was once a hub of knowledge where even Abhinav Gupta like people were living there. Great scholars used to go. They stay together. They discuss. They create knowledge. So that is how Kashmir becomes very, very popular. There's so many Kashmiris originally, but at the same time, Kashmir also was a hub of learning at one period, Sharda Pitha, which is in Pakistan today, unfortunately. There, people used to gather, scholars they gather, and they live there. They spend their time in discussing and finding newer understanding, newer directions, etc. So, Maharshi Akshapada Gautama, roughly, I think that he is from that area, eastern Bharat, Bihar area. Those days, this kind of state concept was not there, nonetheless. So he wrote a book. What a text he wrote! He wrote Nyaya Sutra. My God, that text had such amount of interpretations, bhashyas, by all kinds of people. You look at the movement of history in Bharat, you find initially the interpretations of Nyaya Sutra coming from people like Jayanta Bhatta, Annam Bhatta, etc. Then slowly, slowly, it goes into the hands of the Buddhist scholars. What a great work they have done, the Buddhist scholars, in Bharatiya knowledge tradition, which is the Veda Upanishadic knowledge tradition. You suddenly find, there's a shift from these names to Shakyabodhi, Kirti, Dignaga, Shakyavabodhi, such scholars. They are Buddhist scholars. Then again, after Shankaracharya's coming, after the Shankara Digvijaya, you have again people like up to Gadadhara Bhattacharya, modern times. So that is very interesting if you look at the list of the interpretations. Anyway, in every 100 years or so, there was an interpretation of this Nyaya Sutra of Maharshi Akshapada Gautama, which of course is a system of Bharatiya Darshana, the Nyaya, plus the Vaisheshika. Of course, our ancestors had been clubbing two systems together because of the number of pramanas which they agreed to. Anyway, so something very, very striking in Maharshi Gautama's expression, he makes a distinction between knowledge and information. He doesn't really explicitly speak of information. He says that knowledge worth the name must have the property of affectivity. I repeat, knowledge worth the name must have the property of affecting the knower. Otherwise, it's not knowledge. I will say a knowledge which doesn't affect the knower is not knowledge. It is mere information. This is the distinction which you have to maintain between information and knowledge. Let's see what will be the process of affectivity of information which turns into knowledge in the person or the knower. See, Gautama Maharshi says knowledge should have the property of bhatita. Bhatita, it should affect the knower. It is simple. An information comes. The information which reaches a person should affect that person in such a manner that the person should undergo a process of purification, a process of refinement, and through that he becomes a better person. The information which affects the knower should make him undergo a process of refinement, a process of purification, and after the purification, the person turns out to be a refined human person who undergoes a process of, in Sanskrit, sputtîkarana. He should undergo the process of sputtîkarana, and then that knowledge, then the information turns into knowledge as far as that person is concerned. So that is the difference between information and knowledge. Now, the difficulty what we come across in our society is that people have a lot of degrees with them. They are objectively, the word is there very much, objectively qualified, but you don't find any symptoms or any specialities or any visibly outward manifestations of the knowledge which that person is supposed to have. It's only because he has not yet achieved knowledge. He is still at the level of information, and the information has not gone into his self and has not made the self undergo the process of sputtîkarana, of purifying the person, and that alone can convert it into knowledge. See, even in other ways, other than Gautama Maharshi, we have three stages of knowing, which is also sometimes called as Triputis, three stages. That is Shravana, Manana, and Nididhyasana. That is done for all practical purposes. Shravana is listening. listening the information what is given. Then the second stage is you continuously reflect upon what you hear. That is manana. Manana, that we know. We have the experience of taking curd taking butter from curd. That is called manthan in Sanskrit, Hindi, in most of our languages. It's manthan. You churn the curd, and then this one butter slowly comes up. You collect it. This is done in all villages. It's done by all our women folk. That is manana. Shravana is you hear from whichever source. Normally it is from the teacher, the guru. Then you continuously reflect upon it. You churn what you heard in your mind. Then through the churning, the things will precipitate in your mind. Second stage of knowledge. And once things are precipitated into your mind, certain things become certainties with you. Certain things appear as real to you, certainties with you. Of course, for different individuals, certainties also may be apparently different. On a final analysis, they may be not different. They become certainties to you. Then the third stage is on a very high stage. You continuously reflect upon, meditate upon what you found from the information through your churning, your manana. So normally our knowing process is this three. It's not simply hear something and reproduce. You really have to churn it in your mind, and then things will appear to you, and many times it will appear to us differently. Different people may have different experiences. So this process is practiced in all over in our knowledge tradition in Bharat. But this process is also a process that can turn information into knowledge. So this knowledge is affecting the knower through a process of continuous refinement. It's an ongoing process. You never reach an end. In none of the Bharatiya knowledge tradition there is an end. It is continuously ongoing, given new time and new space. That's why even the Nyaya thinkers after Gautama also say new knowledge is knowledge. New knowledge is knowledge. A new knowledge doesn't mean alter the new knowledge. It's a new knowledge you are finding from an existing knowledge. And that is what is research is supposed to be. Not repetition or copy pasting. Anyway. So this is the fundamental difference between information and knowledge. Now our problem in our society is that we have a lot of people going around with great degrees, but then you are disappointed many times from their behavior, their outward manifestation of their inner self to you on varying occasions, and you believe why this person went to study and what did he study, what's the after effect. He still is like that in spite of all this education. All this confusion comes to our people. Let me conclude saying that don't confuse from when people don't exhibit an expected connotation of education or quality of an education. It's only simply because the information had not turned into as knowledge in that person. It still remains at the information level. He may be able to practically function very nicely, but it had not turned into knowledge level because it had not affected the person, it had not refined the person, it had not improved the person from what he is, and he had not gone from what he is to what he ought to be. So don't get disappointed. You will continue seeing such people. Only thing that you don't keep any expectations. Not all people get affected by information to get the information into knowledge. Now, if the more you know, the more in a way troubled you become. because you will fail to communicate with people, you will fail to talk to people many times. Anyway, that's a different story. Anyway, see, this distinction between information and knowledge is there right in front of our eyes. There are people who are merely informed. Don't expect all to be having knowledge. They may have, they may not have. If they have it, good for all of us. If they don't have it, their problem. Don't expect. You sit and relax and try to do. When you're a student, you try to do these three putties, three stages. That is, Shravana you already have done. Then Manana, I don't know if it is properly done. And Nityasan is the latest stage, you wait for it. At least Manana you do. Then things will be alright. That's all for today. Namaste. Jai Bharat. Jai Shri Ram.